right, it may look bright and sunny out here today, but ever since we got done planting the last of our corn, we've been in a very wet spell. We got 1.75 inches 4 days ago. We got a ½ inch rain yesterday. We got more rain, a 40% chance of rain predicted for tomorrow. 80% chance of rain predicted on Sunday, up to an inch, 1.25 inches, and then 40 and 50% chances of rain for at least the first part of next week. So we really need to be in the field. We really need to be spraying corn. We really need to be planting cotton, and we're not too far away from having to put a side dress application of nitrogen on our corn, but it's not going to happen. I might be able to spray a little bit of corn this afternoon. I don't know, just gotta wait and see if the fields dry up. And right now with these temperatures, we're in a classic blackberry winter for West Tennessee. Typically the last cool spell of the year, and right now temperatures are in the low 60s, maybe get up around 70 with lows around 50. It's just plain too cold to plant cotton. And not only is it too cold, it's too wet. So anyway, today we've gotten our wheat laid by, but I'm kind of curious to what it looks like going across the field. You know, just kind of get an idea of how good of a crop we've got, how uniform a crop it is. So we're going to get our drone up in the air and do a little scouting on our wheat today. I'm gonna go in here and get all my gear. I've already set up my maps that I'm going to fly on my desktop. This is going to be all automated. Let's grab my equipment and go out here. I'll show you how it's done. All right, the first farms we're going to fly is right over here behind the shop, right over past this tree line, past the seed house, and right over here across the road. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to have our home station right here at the shop. You know, it's not going to take hardly any battery power to fly to the starting point. So we're going to stay right here at the shop and fly everything from here. Got the drone on. Let it be warming up, and we'll get our controller here. All right, the program we're using to do all this is all going to be automated. It's called Drone Deploy. So I'll open up my Drone Deploy map, and it should sync with my online account. All right, we already got our plant on here, so we'll load it. Check, make sure everything looks good. Showing right here, this should take 13 minutes and 46 seconds to fly this plant. We got about 105 acres in this one block. Everything looks good, so we'll hit the start button. Logged its home point. The starting point is way over is over here, so it'll fly to the starting point and it'll fly the flight plan back and forth automatically, all while shooting images of my crop. So we'll just set this down here, let it go do its job. And the reason for this is, yeah, we can walk our fields all we want to, but there is absolutely nothing better than getting a bird's eye view of your crop, and that's what the drone does. It, you know, on this program, I go ahead and plan my flight path. I draw the boundaries of my fields and then tell it what altitude it wants, and it lays the automatic paths back and forth that the drone will fly. And the drone will fly around 35 miles an hour unless it gets into some strong wind, with the camera pointing straight down, and it will take images of my crop as it flies along. But the good thing about this program is that once I get done flying it, I can take all these images, I can upload them to the software, and then the software will stitch all those images together into one image, so where I've got a bird's eye view of my entire crop on that field. Another good thing about it is that it's got a filter on there that is similar to NDVI, which is normalized differentiated vegetative index, I think, something like that. And what it does is it measures the infrared light that's bouncing off the crop, and it can give me an idea of the health of my crop. So once we apply that filter, I can see the good areas and the bad areas of the field based upon how much vegetation there is. Whenever sunlight hits plants, sunlight is made up of all different colors, and some of these colors are absorbed and used by the plant, some of it is reflected back off. And what we actually see is green, so the color green is what is actually reflected back off the plant. And this filter can kind of measure the different wavelengths of what light is reflected back off the plant. Like bare dirt reflects a lot of light, whereas green crops don't reflect near as much light, so you can kind of measure that. The more vegetation we got out there, the healthier vegetation we've got out there, the less light that is reflected back. So this is useful, you know, for spotting, say, if we got disease in our crop, you know, got disease on the leaves, well, it's going to reflect more light so we can see the diseased areas. Or if we're low on fertility, the crop's starting to yellow up some, you know, we can also see that. So it's really useful for spotting problem areas in our fields that we can't necessarily see from the ground. And by doing it this way, we can see the problem areas in the fields, then we can go out there and scout the crop and find out maybe what the problem is, and potentially it could be a problem that we can correct before we have lost any yield. Whereas normally at this stage, you know, just scouting on the ground, you know, we wouldn't be able to spot maybe some of these areas until the combine went through, and then by that time, it's too late to do anything about it.
Anyway, let's see where it's at. There's some glare on my iPad. But anyway, it started over here. You can see it's flying back and forth, and it's taking pictures as it goes along and it stitches them together. Now these aren't going to be high quality images that it's shooting back live from the drone. To get the highest quality images, we're going to have to upload all the images from the camera into the software, but it'll look something like that. So it's flying back and forth, got all that. And then it's got to finish up over here. And we can look at that's the live feed from the drone of the camera. Well, right there, it's over a patch of woods. So right there, we're 4 minutes and 42 seconds in. We're at 78% on our battery. I'd really like to be able to fly this on one battery, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just probably too large of a block of land. So we're going to fly this field. We're going to try and fly a few other fields. I won't be able to fly as much as I want to today because somehow over the winter, 3 of my drone batteries went bad. So I've got 3 more on order, but the suckers are $185 a piece for the genuine DJI drone batteries. I looked into some aftermarket ones, but there's just a lot of kind of sketchy reviews of the quality of them is not as good, and the pins on the battery connector kind of melt, and it can cause your drone to become a rock in the sky. And I'm already on my 3rd drone. I really don't want to lose it, so I'm gonna bite the bullet and purchase the good batteries. Now, using this drone to scout our crops, it's a really great tool. I can pay for satellite imagery, but it's not that expensive, but still it's another cost, and the resolution on it is not that great. I think it's somewhere around like 3 meters per pixel, whereas with the drone, I can get, my imagery is like 1.5 inches per pixel, so you get a whole lot better definition from this. It can be kind of slow considering the limitations to the drone. You know, it can only fly about 25 minutes on a battery, and then of course, you know, flying up to altitude, flying to the starting point, all of that eats up precious battery time. So it can be kind of slow, but it is a great tool. But it's the biggest limitation we have to using it here in West Tennessee.
Look at the skies and then look at the trees. We can't fly early in the morning and later in the evening because of our tree lines throwing shadows onto the fields. Realistically, I'm flying a little earlier than what I would like to be. But shadows on the edge of the fields really screws up your imagery around the edges, because with the shadow you got different amounts of sunlight being reflected as the main part of the field, so it kind of really throws off the images. But the problem we get once it starts getting warm and humid out here, which it's not today, but later on in the summer when we get to doing this, is by about 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll see clouds start popping up. Right now, it's about as clear and beautiful day as you can get, so we're not gonna have to worry about that right now. This afternoon, possibly, but we ought to have a few hours of flight time in there. But you can imagine a cloud going across the field throws a shadow on the ground, and of course that's going to mess up your image too. So trying to find good times to fly that's not too early in the morning, too late in the evening, and doesn't have any clouds in the sky in the summer in West Tennessee can be really hard. So I'm not able to use this as much as I would like to, because there's only a few times that we can do it and get really good images.
All right, let's see where we're at. We're 8 minutes and 30 seconds in. Battery level 61%. See where we are on the map. Well, we're about half done. Maybe I'll get lucky and be able to get one battery out of it. Now this is going to be interesting right here. This little area down here, we did not treat it with a fungicide. This is what I consider my soil health field. We tried to do extremely low inputs on it. We try to avoid using commercial fertilizer if possible. We didn't spray a fungicide on it. So I'm gonna, we map it now, we map it again in a week or two, considering how rainy it is. The neighboring field got a fungicide, this one didn't get a fungicide. It's gonna be interesting to see if we have any visual differences from the air as far as disease, or just the wheat just not looking as good or whatever. I know you can't see it and I can barely hear it, but the drone is right over there. The very first drone I had, I found a aftermarket company that sold a bright orange decal that would cover pretty much all of the shell. Made it a whole lot easier to spot in the sky. Unfortunately, I crashed it shortly thereafter, so the less money I invest in aftermarket accessories for my drones, probably the better off I'll be. I don't have a good history with drones. I can be a little rough and aggressive on them when it comes to video and just trying to get the good shot. All right, 47%, 11 minutes, 34 seconds in. We might make it on one battery. Anyway, what you're looking at here, the darker color, that's old satellite pictures. And then the lighter color right there is pictures that's being beamed directly back from the drone. This new software update on this looks like it's working out really good. If you notice, the drone is flying backwards right now. Used to, it would turn around every time, which would use up critical battery power. So they've, this latest software update, they've really increased the efficiency of it, because normally without flying this little piece down here, flying the rest of it would use, I might finish it on one battery if the wind wasn't blowing. If the wind was blowing, there's no way. It looks like I'm gonna finish this field right now with plenty of battery to spare. So that's really a good improvement there. All right, she's done. She's right over there over the top of Jen. Come back in and land itself automatically. Now, even though it's gonna land itself automatically, I'm definitely gonna keep my controller in hand, because the GPS that it uses is on WASP, which is about plus or minus 10 foot correctional. And in the past, I have had the drone automatically almost land on one of these buildings right here. So I got my controller so I can take really quick control of it if I need to. That looks like it's gonna land right where I took off from. Again, because I'm limited on batteries, I only got 2 batteries, we're gonna go ahead and upload these images where the map can be processing while I let my battery charge, because I got 2 more farms that I wanna do. I know one of them's gonna take 2 batteries, so we might not get that 3rd farm done, but
we'll let it go ahead and be charging up while we get these images uploaded. All right, we got to use my little laptop here because my memory card reader has a USB-C port, and my ancient desktop over there does not have a port. Anyway, we'll just navigate to our project here. It brings it up. It's already got the live view uploaded. And then we'll go down here and upload our images here. And there's all the pictures it took. Looks like it took 134 pictures. And we'll just select them all. So I've got 958 megabytes worth of pictures. Now in previous years, this was a very tiresome task because our internet speed was very slow, like about 3 megabits per second download, 1.5 megabits per second upload. We've got on with Gibson Connect, and now we got 250 megabits per second upload and download speed. So our fast internet speed has greatly improved our life, greatly improved what I can do here on the farm in the last, it's been about 7-8 months now. So something like this, and only takes about 4 minutes to upload all this. Now we're not getting our full internet speed out here at the office because I'm wirelessly shooting it over from my house where the line comes in, so speed is degraded a little bit there. But I think out here at the office we're still getting about 100 megabits per second to upload and download speed. So this should go pretty quick. Definitely be done uploading these before the drone battery gets charged. It'll probably take about 35-40 minutes to do that. All right, we got our battery charged up, ready to go again. Still got clear skies. Got a couple little clouds starting to pop up, but we got about 180 acres right here. Don't think we'll quite be able to do it all on one battery, so I got both batteries with me and charged up. All right, load our flight plan. Pre-flight checklist looks good. 15 minutes and 30 seconds to fly this, what it's saying. We're gonna be right at the edge of what one battery can do. All right, everything looks good. Let's take off. And there it goes. All right, while the drone is flying, I picked a couple heads of wheat just to kind of show you how the wheat seeds develop. You got the head of the wheat here. We got 2 different varieties planted, and there's a little bit of mixture in this field of both. You got a non-bearded wheat, and you got a bearded wheat. See all these beards awns coming out of the head? That's considered a bearded wheat, whereas the one beside it has very little awns, so this is non-bearded wheat. Each one of these right here is what I call a spikelet. I don't know if that's correct terminology or not, but this is what I call a spikelet. Each one of these spikelets will typically produce 3 seeds. We pull back the outer cover of the spikelet. I don't know if you can see it right there, but you can see the seed starting to form. That's about a third of the size of a full seed right there. You can see that right there is the beginning stages of a wheat seed. Now, this the seed will grow rapidly, a lot more rapidly than say what corn or soybeans will. Typically, from the time that the wheat pollinates until the wheat seed is full size, it's typically roughly around a month or so. Definitely a lot quicker than corn or soybeans. Anyway, this wheat head has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This head right here has got 14 spikelets on it. Typically, I like to see an average of about 15 spikelets per head for good yielding wheat. So, but we got a nice thick stand out there, and definitely a lot better than what we've had the last 2 and 3 years. All right, the drone just got done and is heading back, and all on one battery. They really improved this program. I'm gonna have power to spare when I get back, and normally it's right at the edge of whether I can fly this farm on one battery or not. So we still got one battery left. I got one more farm I want to fly, so as soon as it lands, we'll go get it done. All right, got another 110 acres here. All right, got all my field flown. Let's get on back to the office and get these photos uploaded, and then I think it's dry enough. We can go spray some corn today, which that's great news. I've been really worried about it since I checked my corn a couple of days ago. I mean, the cover crop has really put back out from the burn down we did, and it needs some Roundup on it. It needs some Roundup on it now. And with the forecast we got, rain tomorrow, rain Sunday, 50% chances of rain almost every day next week. If we don't get it done today, I don't know when we'll be able to get it done, and we're going to start getting some pretty serious corn damage if we don't get that cover crop killed soon. So, all right, quickly go through this, but we just got in and checked our drone deploy maps. They got done processing. So we'll take a look at a couple of them. I'll kind of show you what we're looking at. The first one, first farm we flew, you can see here, that's the fields that it flew. All the images have been stitched together and fit to the boundaries. Zoom in a little bit. These are the pictures. This hasn't had the NDVI filter applied to it. That's what it looks like. I mean, it looks pretty good. You can kind of see some kind of a little bit of dark and light shading there. That's just the quality of the sunlight as the drone flew across the field, because I mean, we're talking about a difference of 15 minutes here, so you do see a little bit of variances like that. Now we click on the plant health layer, which is puts kind of the NDVI on there, and if you look, you see like some really dark green, like right here in this area, and what that is that's the shade from the sun not being all the way overhead. So it kind of throws the map off a little bit. So we'll adjust our bar here to account for it a little bit. And I mean, other than this red streak through here, which is a terrace, it's not even planted in wheat. I mean, it looks fairly uniform. And that's what we want to see. That means we did our job right. We got a good uniform crop. If we zoom in though, you can see, you can start seeing some details. All right, this big old red area right here. I wouldn't expect to see that there because, it should be crop ground. Well, I know what happened there is we left a spot out whenever we were planting wheat for the chicken litter guy to dump his chicken litter because he hadn't spread that yet, and I ran out of seed before I could go back and get that. So we don't have anything planted there. So that's all that soil, bare soil right there, reflecting all that light back. Then you can see all these, you can see my wheel tracks from when I sprayed and knocked the wheat down. And I mean, that's pretty much expected. And then you can see along the southern edge, we got a few trees clipped in there. We didn't get our boundaries exactly right. But, looking like right over here, that's fairly uniform. You can see these kind of streaks through there. What that is, that's where we used to have terraces in this field. We knocked them down about 5 years ago. We disturbed the soil, and the soil's a little thin. We haven't had a chance to build it back up like we have the rest of the field. So, you can pick that kind of stuff up in the aerial imagery, but you wouldn't necessarily notice it in the field. Now, it looks like right through here, we got some dark green. That's probably going to be some really good wheat. This red area right here, that's real thin ground. The wheat stand is probably a little bit thinner right there. All right, zooming in on this field right here, this one is pretty neat right here. This is where we've got my adaptive management plots where we are comparing cover crops and no-till. And the plots go this way from east to west. And you can kind of see like right through there's our no-till plot. It's a little bit lighter shade of green than the next two plots, which are cover crop plots. Then you got another no-till plot right through there, followed by some cover crop plots. So you can see a little bit of difference there, a little bit of benefit we're getting from having cover crops there as opposed to straight no-till. And looking like right through here, got a red area right there. Well, that's a drowned out spot. Water comes off the hillside and flows down through there and has it drowned out. All right, let's look at another map here. All right, here's the one up here close to Jackson that we flew. Again, you can see all the pictures have been stitched together. Let's put our plant health on there. Again, that's pretty dang uniform. That's what we want to see. But zooming in, we can see a few things. Let's zoom in right here. All right, you see all those lines going kind of diagonal across the screen. That's where I've got my variety plots planted, and we've got a 38-inch gap in between each plot, so you're seeing bare soil in between each of the plots. But you can see some distinct differences between several of the plots. Like right there, this variety's not looking quite as good as the neighbors, so it'll be interesting whenever we go to harvest to see what it yields compares to the neighbors. All right, now clicking back off the plant health map, zooming in right here. We might not see that from the edge of the field. We'd have to walk all the way out in the field to see that. What that is, that's wheat that is being laid down by the last storm that we got. And so that variety apparently is more prone to being lodged than the neighboring variety. So we don't want to plant a variety that has a tendency to lodge. We want it to stay standing up, because anytime it lodges, you're going to start losing yield. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that variety, make sure we don't plant it. Click back on the plant health here. See those red streaks through there? That shouldn't be there. There's nothing wrong with that part of the field. No water problems or whatever. It's well drained. There shouldn't be any problems with that. So let's click back off the plant health map and see we can tell what's going on. Look at there. We got streaks right there from where the drill wasn't planting on part of it. I must have been running out of seed, but didn't catch it in time, and I planted those few passes right there with a drill running out of seed. So you know, if I couldn't tell that from the raw map like I could just then I'd want to walk out in that area of the field and maybe find out what's going on. Let's look at the last one. This is the last one we flew. This was 180 acres or so. All right, I'm seeing some differences right here. Looking from the overhead view. All right, look at this field right here. This right here is a separate farm right here in the middle from this on the left. Both of them were in pasture a few years ago. One of them was taken out of pasture 1 year later than the other. But this farm right here that wraps all the way around, last year that farm had soybeans planted on it. Soybeans are legume. Legumes produce their own nitrogen. The field here in the middle that doesn't look quite as good had cotton on there. Had a light rate of nitrogen on there because cotton doesn't need a lot of nitrogen. So what we're seeing on this farm right here is the residual effects of that extra nitrogen in the soil that was provided by soybeans. Again, pretty neat. Zooming in right here on this middle field. Kind of see this area right out here in the middle. You know, the wheat just doesn't look as good. If I didn't know what happened there, I might go out there and investigate. Well, turns out when this farm came out of pasture, there was a pond there for the cattle to feed, and the landlord had it filled in. So all that dirt right in there is pretty thin, where they scraped the dirt away to push into the pond. So that just gives you a quick idea of the tools that we use to make better management decisions, see what's going on in our crop. You know, you can't beat a bird's eye view. So this is a pretty invaluable tool for us. But winter wheat, we really don't see a whole lot. Once we get to cotton and corn that might show some drought stress in the middle of the summer, we really start seeing our good areas of the field and our bad areas of the field. So whenever our corn gets big enough to fly and we can start seeing stuff like that, I'll bring you back again and show you what our summer crops look like on that. So anyway, I'll let y'all go now. I'm ready to get home, get me some supper, get a shower. I appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you in the next video.